I was sitting quietly with my 5-year-old grandson, Adam, at my son's second wedding when his small hand gripped mine so tightly it startled me. His voice trembled as he whispered, "Grandma, I want to leave now." I leaned closer, smiling to calm him. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" He didn't blink. His eyes darted beneath the tablecloth. "Haven't you looked under the table?" That's when I froze. My gaze dropped and my world tilted. Beneath the pristine white linen, a woman's hand rested gently on my son's knee. Not the bride's. A manicured, familiar hand. I knew that ring. I had given it to my late husband's assistant years ago, back when she was just helping him manage his schedule. And in that moment, I finally saw it. The full circle of betrayal. 25 years ago, my husband Daniel and I built everything together. A company, a home, a life. I was his partner, his sounding board, his quiet architect behind every decision. He called me his compass, until one day he simply stopped. It started with distance, late nights at the office, a different cologne, a faint lipstick stain on a collar he swore was from a client's hug. Then came her, Elena. Young, ambitious, efficient. The kind of woman who always laughed a little too loud at his jokes. I welcomed her. I even trained her. That was my first mistake. When Daniel died suddenly, a car accident on a night he wasn't supposed to be out, it was Elena who handled his affairs. She comforted me, cried with me, even organized his funeral. It took me months to see what she had taken. Not just my husband's affection, but the empire we built. The shares, the control. She had him transfer everything before he died. I lost everything but my house and my silence. Years later, I began to see her face again, not in person, but in glossy articles about the brilliant CEO behind Dalton Industries, the company I built. She had even changed her last name, Dalton, my husband's. She married again, briefly, then divorced, but her influence grew. And then my son, my sweet, trusting boy, met her niece. Her name was Sophie. She had Elena's charm, her polish, her strategic smile. I recognized the performance instantly, but I said nothing. When my son announced his engagement, I congratulated him. I even helped plan the wedding. I wasn't going to repeat my mistake, not this time. I played the role of the quiet mother, supportive, gracious, invisible. But I listened. I observed. I built my own file. I discovered that Sophie worked under Elena in the company, my late husband's company, that she was promised a directorship, a reward for marrying well. They thought I was harmless. So I smiled, baked cookies, and asked questions that seemed innocent. I found the weak links, an old accountant who remembered me, a lawyer who owed me a favor, a paper trail no one thought still existed, Daniel's original will. He had never signed the amendments Elena made him believe were official. Every transaction, every change was built on forged documents she crafted after his death. I didn't take it to the police. I took it to the board, quietly, strategically. And 3 days before the wedding, Elena was removed as CEO. At the wedding, Elena didn't know yet. She arrived late, her head held high, her signature pearls glinting under the lights. Sophie was radiant beside my son, oblivious, clutching his arm like a trophy. I waited until the vows ended, until the toasts began. That's when Adam saw the hand under the table. Elena's hand, her fingers grazing my son's knee like she had done to his father's. The nausea that hit me wasn't shock, it was confirmation. She wasn't just after power, she was repeating the same pattern. I stood up slowly, raising my glass. The room fell silent. "I just wanted to say," I began softly, "how beautiful this union is. So much like Daniel's first marriage." Elena's head turned. I met her eyes. Calm. Cold. Except, I continued, this time the contracts are valid. The assets are safe. And the fraud, well, it's already been reported. Her face drained of color. The whispers started. I placed a hand on my son's shoulder and leaned close. You might want to check under the table before you toast your future. He did. And when his eyes met mine, confusion, then horror, he understood. Elena stood abruptly, her chair scraping. She tried to speak, but her phone buzzed, one call after another. Her empire was collapsing in real time. I didn't need to stay to watch. Later that night, my son came to my house, pale and quiet. He held Adam in his arms, eyes red. "Mom," he said finally, "how long have you known?" "Long enough," I replied. He looked at me for a long moment. "You didn't tell me." "No," I said. "I let you see it yourself." He nodded slowly, then whispered, "Thank you." When he left, I sat by the window, the silence wrapping around me like an old friend. I thought about Daniel, about how easily he'd been fooled, about how history